Well, goodness, I tell you what, I have run out of part one. I didn't realize it was that late. So we're going to continue with this gazebo. We can call it part two, I guess. Uh, so I don't know, my time is limited on this clock counter on how much I can put down at one time. It's set up that way basically. I could probably change it, but I want each video to be broke up anyway. So I was supposed to have closed it out before that last video. So unfortunately though, the problem also is that I can't pack it back into one video and go back on that because that video has its own set of themes and reasons. So now here it is, another video. The idea concept is I've got to I can call it part two, and I might run it off to just 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll just have it connected together and maybe set the playlist because this is important. I was on a very important part. I was about to finish it out, but I watch people with their vengeance. I'm sure some people are happy. I'm sure some people found justice in what they did. Sometimes, though, it's the next person. But sometimes the idea is, why don't we just leave something alone? How do we know it's going to turn out okay? Just how much is this person worth? But we're so full of hate, we're so full of pride and everything else. So I want to mention things like, well, it's our friends. Are they the ones saying, oh, go do that, you got to go do that? Or are they the ones sitting in jail? Because pretty much when you go seeking vengeance, you're the aggressor. Is it worth it? Now, this is for the younger people. Older people kind of have the attitude, I've been in jail before, or I have the attitude that I'm an old man, nothing's going to matter to me, I've only got a few years left to live, I'm going to finally finish out justice. Sometimes in stories, sometimes in TV, you have this person where over a period of years they come back to this person and told them just how they've never forgiven them for this, or never. The person's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Did I do that to you? No, I didn't mean to do that. Or no, that's not what I meant when I said that. Especially years later, you're like, I forgot about it, but man, my life's changed. I'm Christian now, and I was young, I drank a lot. I said things I didn't mean. Hey, man, I'm sorry. If that'll help me, but I truly don't remember. And here we carry hatred and attitudes so much for years. And one day I'm going to see that person on the straight. One day I'm going to tell them how I really feel. And then one day you're like, wow, this person don't even remember me. And who has had the hardest part of this time? The concept is, and it seems impossible, but there's a moment in court situations where the person stands up, impact statement, we call it sometimes. The person stands up and says, I must forgive you because I must forget you. I must move on with my life. And that says a lot. It says that this person, no matter what they do, what happens to them, what they've done has happened. You have to move on with your life. You have, that's those words right there. Many of you have heard. You have to move on with your life. You have to move on with your life. I can, say it many times, as you will hear it many times. I will have to move on with my life. You will have to move on with your life. But it's important. But I know a person one time. He did some things. Basically, that was not physical, it was just mental. He said some things that sounded rather stupid. And, he's like, oh, I really sound like an idiot there. This concept, I'm listening to it. He said, yeah, I just said some things that just didn't make sense. He said, no, he wasn't drunk or anything. He just said, he wasn't very educated. He was a young man. He said, well, I just said something that's stupid. Well, he somewhat feels guilty. Somewhat as an educated man later on. I don't know that he was just the most educated philosopher and professor of college, but he'd lived life a little longer and realized that those things he said were wrong. He admitted he was wrong. But in the same process, is it important that you say how you did something wrong, how you said something wrong, how you were an idiot? You know, there's a idea, concept of opening your mouth and all of a sudden make people believe you're an idiot, saying the wrong things. If somebody knows, says, "Oh, I know this, I've had experience in this," you're just an idiot, or they were just an idiot. That brings me to another interesting concept. This was on a TV show. But this captain of the ship had a science officer, had a science person, had this idea to do these experimentations that would be good for advancement in research. Well, in the process, these advancements, the research and everything had created these little furry creatures that were supposedly supposed to be good as pets or whatever reason, and these little guys started multiplying. Well, before you know it, these little guys, these little furry things, and back in Star Trek, the original one, they called them trebles. Now, this is pretty much what they were again, the little trebles, but he found a way to increase the speed in which the trebles, but the trebles had a scientific purpose, but in experimentations, whatever the reason was, he wanted to advance it. The captain says, no, we decide things as a group, and we don't need to advance their metabolism rate and their dividing and reproducing rate. We need to keep everything under control. Well, he goes without her permission, goes out on his own and creates this thing. Well, I guess he was supposed to find some way to keep them under control. Next thing you know, they break out of the lab concealment case. And they start getting into all the ship's systems, messing everything up. Somehow they get on an emergency escape pod and they find their way down to a planet. They do the same thing there, they go crazy. So there was they got it kind of under control after it had done so much damage, had got so out of hand, so under control. So the Board of Inquiries is asking all these questions. They've gone through, they've asked these people all these questions. They finally get to the captain. They're holding the captain 100% responsible. They say, okay, we want to know everything about what went wrong, what did you do wrong, how is, you're going to take responsibility of all of this, and things of that nature. Well, she has basically the response is everybody's looking at her to basically be the fall person, take the fall, she's the captain of the ship. And she says the words that were quite simple, but true, that explained everything. She says, he was an idiot. And that's a lot of it right there. When it comes down to it, some people do something that's idiotic. We can't worry about it, we can't deal with it, we can't do anything about it, we can't even be responsible for it. But now once we are, we say, oh, well, I could have done this, I should have done that. We take the idea that we can be responsible, then all of a sudden it makes it our problem. And then it becomes our concern, our worry. No, it's not our fault, it never was our fault. This person did this to us, they cut us off from traffic, now I holler at them, they holler back at me. No, it's not about what started it, it's about what escalated, what caused it. We have this problem a lot of times, arguments over parking spots. Is it really worth it? Sometimes it is, sometimes we get our pride and we're not going to let it go. But just think twice. Just, I guess as a person who tries to help people, the first key to success is to say, don't do it. Don't lose your mind first for somebody's not worth it. Because when these videos start to help you, the self-help, and these videos start to help you, you can help me out. Buy me that cup of coffee. I'll put it in my channel description. Texas Mongoose one is a channel, but of course when you get down into it, you'll find my PayPal is texasmongoose@cs.com, and you donate a little money, because I come out here and I spend my time and give my thoughts. Well, some people might say, well, Brother Bob, he's an idiot. Well, many things, many people, and how we say it, we're an idiot. To the dumber person, I'm probably pretty smart. To someone who's arrogant or believes they're smarter, or maybe they are smarter than me, I'm kind of dumb. Because here it is, they know the exact date that the other video, the dogs were domesticated more so in modern time. The exact date the internet officially opened this level of capacity, situational usage for each application, and then they know different things. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. This is part 2, and I wanted to mention some of this stuff, and that was one of the things I want to preach on. When you win or lose, you still lose, was what that man said. And there's a lot to be said about it. You think about that. How much are you willing to lose? You say, oh, I'm willing to lose everything. No, you're willing to risk everything, but you're probably not willing to lose because you're not wanting to lose everything. Because first of all, this person is somebody who's done you wrong, or somebody who's been a problem, been irritating yourself, and then you're the one that gets mad at them, throws the rock, and bounces back and hits you in the head instead, or something. I've seen that one of these YouTube things about burglary. He threw a rock and he hit the glass, and the glass bounced back, busted him in the head. But it's similar, same concept. You're angry, you throw a rock, you throw it at somebody, whatever the consequences are, hits you back. What are you doing tomorrow? Another example is Green Book, that scene where that man hits the officer, if you've seen it. Basically, they're in the jail together, and he speaks and says, look at him, the officer. He says he's out there having a good time drinking coffee with his friends. And here we are in here. So, got to keep things like that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said 2 or 3 times, and close it out. I've made a few more comments. And we'll catch on the next one later on. And give some thoughts. It's not about being extra nice to people. It's nice to be nice to people, but it's about being extra friendly and being good to yourself, because you don't want to be a problem to a person that causes you to be in trouble. When you get out and you start a ruckus and a problem, let the police come for you. You had it coming, but it doesn't matter. You're the one that got out there and you was the aggressor. Just remember, sometimes he ain't working. Sometimes they ain't working. Go find your own peace. And that's a lot of it. It's just go elsewhere. Like say your friends aren't going to be the ones who are going to be in jail. The other ones be talking about, oh, hey, did you hear about such and such? He was in jail. He went after him. Oh, did you hear about such and such? Oh, poor kid, he's dead. He went after this man. That other man had a gun, or he went after this man. He went to hit the guy. In the process, the guy hit back. The next thing I know, the guy's just, he's in the hospital. He's got medical bills. He's got a, swollen lip, a busted jaw. He's got a front tooth missing, that's a mess in itself. Now, who's paying for that? You're going to have to pay for that. You're going to have to pay for repair of your jaw if it's a dislocated jaw. We've got a lot of things that's a whole other subject. We've got a lot of things in medical care, but some of the dentistry stuff, there's no insurance, and there's certainly not any real good